Superman 2025. Some would say we didn't even need to see another Superman movie. How many of them do we need to see? Then again, they are interesting and fun films to watch. I thought Man of Steel was really good. I think they came the closest to being on the par with the original Superman film from 1978, which is hard to. No one's ever going to be able to overtake that movie for pure quality. The acting, everything came together. The director, Richard Donner, the cast, the supporting cast, everyone, Ned Beatty. And it's always going to be hard to compete with that movie. It's going to be basically impossible. So there's been a few adaptations of Superman, Man of Steel, like I said. Then there was Superman Returns, which didn't do. I think it done okay in the box office, but I don't think that it got a really good reception from people at all. And Kevin Spacey just did not come across correct as Lex Luthor. Now, Nicholas Hoult does a half decent job in this film. When you come up against Gene Hackman in any movie as a comparison, you're going to have problems, dude. You're going to have problems because I did like Nicholas Holt's version of it because he didn't go down the road of trying to do anything to do with Gene Hackman. But it was kind of one-dimensional too. It was one-dimensional and it was kind of hard to take some of it serious because the CGI was just way over the top. Way over the fucking top. And it didn't need to be either. They could have just brought it back a little bit. Just brought it back from CGI heaven a tiny bit, pulled it back a little bit, right? But it didn't destroy the movie though. Because as I was watching the movie, I first watched it up till about 23, 24 minutes, and there's this scene in the movie where Superman is bordering on arguing with Lois Lane in the apartment. And I didn't like that at all. I thought that's not, Superman's not going to argue with people or his girlfriend or women or men or anything. He's just not going to argue like that. So, but it was a different take. As I watched the film further, the following day I watched it further, it was a different take on the Superman comic, which was bold. I liked that they took a chance with it. I liked that they took a chance with trying to do it different. I didn't like it at the start, and then as I started to watch more of it, I kind of grown on me a tiny bit. The film grew on me a tiny bit because of that. Superman himself, the actor, David Caroswet, I think his name is, he did a fine job of Superman. A fine job. A really good job. They cast someone really good as Superman. They must have looked around for a long time to find out who they wanted to play it because it's an important part of movie making. Casting is an incredibly important part of movie making because if you cast the wrong person, not even if it's the wrong person, he can just be fucking awkward. He can be awkward to work with. And you don't want that in a movie. Unless it's been awkward because he's trying to be awkward or she's trying to be awkward because they're trying to make the film better. That's a little bit different. But if it's just been awkward because, when you have that in everyday life, wherever you're working, right? You might be working in retail, trucking, some sort of like computer facility, or in movies themselves, like in production companies and stuff. And if you get people that are awkward when you're working with them and they just want to complain, it's not a good idea. So casting is a very good, important part of movie making. You want to make sure you get that right because you're going to be locked in with these people for a good amount of time, 3-4 months sometimes, even though I think they make movies a little bit quicker now than they did before. So the turnover could be a little bit quicker, which is not a bad thing. But it is a bad thing when they use over CGI. Like I said, it was overdone, but it didn't ruin the movie. One of the things that really saved this movie from being not so great was the comic timing in the film worked. And it was bordering on being a tiny bit smart arse-ish, but it kind of worked. It didn't go too far. It did work. It did work in the movie. There's a lot of things that did work in the movie. I liked that they took a different take, a different route with it, to do with the story, to do with... And there was certain parts in the film where it was serious. Like, people died in this movie. It wasn't just like, there was no consequences. There was one part with Lex Luthor where he was playing Russian roulette with this guy and Superman had to give him information. And that was a surprise because, he shot the guy in front of Superman. So that was a surprise. And it was a different take, different view, a different way of approaching Superman, which I kind of liked. It's not as good as the original Superman from 1978, but it's definitely worth a look. I kind of liked it. And I liked some of the characters in it, even though I didn't think that I was going to like them so much. Some of the dialogue was good, and it did seem to move from section to section in a pretty good way. Like I said, the over CGI is a problem. They should pull back a little bit on it, try and have more practical where they can. I'm not against CGI or green or blue screen. They're tools, but I think that they just go over the top because it may be easier and simpler just to do it on a computer than to build sets and to build things that can be, used in, real life photography. Right, so I think that they should mix all of them together where need be. But the film itself, I enjoyed. I liked the idea of the super dog. I thought that at the start that maybe it's not going to work. But then as the film went on, it was kind of catered towards children and adults as well. So it did have a good mix there. There's these robots in the Solitude, what is it? The Palace of Solitude, or I'm getting that wrong. I'll get that right in a second. The Fortress of Solitude, right? And there's these robots in it, and they're really like they're emotionless, cynical robots, and it shouldn't have really worked. But I have to say, I kind of liked it. I thought I actually really worked pretty good. I was surprised by some of it, but the failings were to do with the CGI parts over the top. But I did like it. It's definitely worth watching. It's definitely worth taking a bit of time out to go to the cinema to watch it too. Okay, because I think that children will definitely enjoy it. Some of the characters were good. I liked the music in it. The cinematography was good in it. Some of the characters are really good in it. The timing was good in it. The standout guy for me in the film, or the standout actor in the movie, was, don't know his name, but he played Jimmy Olsen's character. And his comic timing was great. I thought he was he wasn't in it that much, but his timing was great. So that's my review of Superman. It's a film I didn't really want to like, but I found myself watching it and enjoying it in parts. But they could have pulled back on the CGI. In the description below are 3 of my short films that I've made myself: The Trap, Case of Death, and The Man Who Died. Check them out. They're free to watch. Maybe pass them on, send them on to other people that you know. That would be great because I want as many people to watch them as possible. And adios for now.